Chapter 1, The Forgotten Hill. I stand alone on this forgotten hill, a hollow shell of what I used to be. My wooden bones creak with every gust of wind. My paint peels away like the dead skin of some creature shedding the life it no longer has. The glass in my windows is fractured and jagged, yet I still feel the world beyond, cold rain slicing through the air, the smell of wet earth rising from the grass that chokes my foundation. They call me many names now. The abandoned house. The haunted house. The cursed house. But I was none of those things once. I was alive in a way a building can be alive, filled with warmth and purpose. My rooms held laughter, secrets, and dreams whispered into the night. I knew the sound of a baby's first cry and the hum of a lullaby in the nursery upstairs. I knew the crackle of fire in my hearth and the comfort of footsteps returning home at dusk. That was long ago. Before the silence. Before the darkness came and settled deep in my foundation. Now, only shadows move through my halls. They slip along my cracked walls, curling into corners, whispering to one another in voices too soft for human ears. I do not know if they are memories or something else, something older and hungrier. But tonight, the wind brings me something new. At first, it is just a faint sound carried through the cold night air. The crunch of footsteps on wet leaves. I feel them through the earth, like the vibration of a heartbeat I thought I had lost. Someone is coming. Through the mist, a figure emerges. A girl, no older than 19 or 20. She is thin, her coat too light for this weather, her boots caked with mud. Her hair clings wetly to her face, and her breath comes in hurried clouds as she climbs the hill. Her heart beats fast, I can almost feel it pulsing in my walls. She doesn't see me at first. Her eyes dart between the trees, searching for shelter, and then they fall on me. She hesitates. I cannot blame her. I must look like the hollowed carcass of a thing long dead. But still, she comes closer. Her hand touches my door. It groans under her weight, but she pushes anyway, and with a reluctant sigh, I open for her. My hinges scream in protest, and a rush of cold air sweeps through my halls, stirring the dust that has lain still for decades. She steps inside. In the dim light of her flashlight, I see her eyes sweep across my decayed interior. Wallpaper hangs in tatters. The wooden floor is warped and splintered. A long-dead mouse lies curled in a corner like a forgotten offering. Yet there is no fear in her gaze, only exhaustion. She sets her pack down in what was once my living room and collapses onto the floor, hugging her knees to her chest. I study her. There is something about her heartbeat, her warmth, that stirs a memory in me. Long ago, another girl sat in that same spot, her face lit by firelight instead of the pale glow of a flashlight. She hummed softly to herself as she sewed a patch on her husband's shirt. I try to remember her name, but it slips away like smoke. The girl in front of me shivers violently. I reach for her in the only way I can. I draw the wind away from my broken windows, sealing her in a pocket of stillness. She doesn't notice. Her eyelids grow heavy, and soon, she sleeps. But down below, in my foundation, something else awakens. It shifts in the dark, hungry and aware. It feels her presence, too. And I can do nothing but wait. Chapter 2, Cracks in Time. I remember when they built me. Each stone was laid with care, each timber smoothed and fitted by hands that dreamed of a future. The man whistled as he worked, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, sweat glinting on his brow. The woman brought him water and bread, laughing at his stubborn determination. She would run her hands along my walls, whispering of curtains and flowers and the children they would raise here. They gave me life, not through magic or science, but through the sheer force of their hope. For years, my halls were filled with light. The sound of tiny feet pattering up my staircase. The smell of bread baking in my kitchen. The creak of my doors as the man returned home at night and the woman ran to greet him. I was whole. I was alive. But all things crack eventually. It began with a cough. A simple, harmless sound in the middle of the night. At first, no one noticed. The woman wiped her mouth and smiled, hiding the tiny fleck of red on her handkerchief. But I noticed. I feel everything within my walls, the quiet joys and the quiet sorrows. The cough grew harsher. The man stopped whistling. The children played in hushed tones, watching their mother's pale face as she lay in bed. Then came the fights. Late at night, when they thought the children were asleep, their voices would rise in anger. Words hurled like stones, sharp and heavy. You promised me. I'm doing everything I can. You brought that book into this house. That book. I remember it too well. It sat on the oak table in the parlor, its cracked leather cover breathing a faint, acrid scent into my air. I hated it instantly. But the man clung to it. He read it deep into the night, muttering strange syllables under his breath. He was desperate to save her, to save all of them. He didn't know he was tearing me open. One night, the ritual began. Candles flickered in my parlor, their flames twisting unnaturally in the still air. Chalk marks spread across my floorboards, searing into me like wounds. I wanted to scream, but houses have no voices. And then it came. A presence. Older than the soil beneath me, darker than the night sky above. It crawled into my foundation, coiling there like a serpent, whispering to the man in promises sweeter than honey. Just one life, it said. One sacrifice, and she will live. The man hesitated. His hands shook. But when the woman began to cough upstairs, harsh, rattling, blood-speckled, he whispered, yes. The ritual failed. She died anyway. And the thing he invited in? It never left. Chapter 3, The Steps in the Night. The girl stirs in her sleep. I can feel her breath slowing, deepening as she drifts between dreams and waking. Outside, the storm rages on, rain lashing against my cracked windows. But inside, another sound rises. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps. Not hers. They move slowly across my upper hall, floorboards groaning under an unseen weight. The girl jerks awake. Her flashlight rolls across the floor, casting long, wild shadows on my walls. Hello, she calls, her voice hoarse. No answer. The footsteps stop. She gets to her feet, clutching her bag to her chest. The beam of her flashlight trembles as she sweeps it across my decayed furniture. Is someone there? She takes a cautious step toward the staircase. No, I whisper. Of course, she doesn't hear me. She climbs anyway. Each step is a scream in my old wooden frame. I can feel her heartbeat pounding, quick and frantic, as she reaches the upper hall. A draft slithers past her, carrying with it a faint, sour scent. She gags. Her light flickers. At the far end of the hall, a door hangs slightly ajar. She pushes it open. Inside, the nursery lies in ruin. The crib is overturned, its wood splintered. Faded wallpaper peels away in strips, revealing claw marks gouged deep into the plaster. She steps inside. Tap, tap. The sound comes again, from beneath her feet. Her gaze drops to the floorboards. And then, slowly, the trapdoor to the cellar creaks open by itself. Chapter 4, The Prisoner Below. I try to warn her. The cellar is not a place for living. Not anymore. But she doesn't hear my whispers. No one ever does. The girl kneels by the trapdoor, the flashlight trembling in her grip. She peers into the yawning darkness below. A sour, heavy air wafts up, thick with mildew and something far older, something wrong. She hesitates, her fingers curling around the edge of the wood. Don't, I beg. But she pulls. The trapdoor groans open fully, and a rush of cold air spills upward, carrying with it a sound so faint she almost misses it. Breathing. I remember what lies down there. Once, the cellar was nothing more than a place to store wine and preserves. Children used to sneak down the narrow stairs to steal apples from the crates, giggling as they tiptoed back up. Now, the steps lead into a void. I recall the night the man descended with the book clutched tight to his chest, his eyes hollow and wild. The candles in his hands dripped wax onto my boards as he whispered to the thing he had invited. You said one life, he murmured. Take mine instead. But the thing below only laughed. A bargain struck cannot be undone, it hissed. One life was given. Yours was never enough. The man screamed as he fell. His voice echoed in my beams, bounced off my rafters, and finally went silent. He never came back up. And neither did the thing leave. It slithered deeper into my foundations, coiling itself around my heart. I felt its hunger seeping into my walls, its whispers worming through the cracks in my wood. Since then, I have been its prison. Or perhaps it is prisoner. Now, the girl's flashlight pierces the cellar gloom, catching on the first few stone steps. The air vibrates with something low and guttural, a sound too deep to be human. She freezes. Hello, she calls, her voice quavering. The breathing stops. For a heartbeat, there is only silence. Then a voice, soft and wet, curls up the stairs. You smell warm. Chapter 5, The Voice of Rot. She stumbles back, slamming the trapdoor shut. Dust blooms around her like a dying breath. Her chest heaves as she scrambles across the nursery floor, eyes wide and wet. Okay, she whispers to herself. Okay, it's nothing. Just the wind. Just. But I know she doesn't believe it. Neither do I. The thing below stirs. It has been so long, it whispers into my beams. So long since a heartbeat so close. I feel it stretching, testing the cracks in my foundation, the weak points in my rotting frame. She will do nicely. I push back with everything I have. No, I told it. But I am only wood and stone. I am not the master here. The girl retreats to my parlor and pulls her coat tight around her trembling body. She lights a small candle from her pack, its tiny flame casting wild shadows on my crumbling walls. I can feel her warmth. It seeps into me like water into dry soil, awakening memories I thought I had lost forever. The sound of a woman's laugh. The scent of cinnamon and bread. The weight of a child's small hand brushing against my banister. I want to feel it all again. But I am afraid. Because warmth attracts things in the dark. And it is hungry. Chapter 6, The Hearth's Ember. The girl's eyes flutter shut. Exhaustion claims her. Her candle burns low. In the corner of the parlor, the fireplace lies cold and dead, its stones streaked with soot from a fire long forgotten. But I remember the nights when flames danced there, filling me with light and life. I want to feel that warmth again. I shifted the air around her, nudging her toward the hearth. Her eyes flicker open. She blinks at the fireplace, then at the pile of broken logs beside it. With trembling hands, she begins to stack the wood. Her lighter clicks once. Twice. On the third try, a flame blossoms. Firelight spills across my walls. Dust motes swirl like golden spirits in the glow. For the first time in decades, I feel alive. But below, the thing rages. No light, it hisses. No warmth. No life here. I hear it scraping against the stones, clawing at the cracks, seeking a way out. The girl sits before the fire, unaware of the danger beneath her. I want to protect her. But I don't know if I am strong enough. Chapter 7, Fire and Blood. The thing below is awake now. I feel it uncoiling in the depths of my foundation, pressing against my stones like a worm straining to break its shell. You cannot keep her from me, it hisses, its voice reverberating through my rotting beams. I try to hold steady, to keep my walls firm, my floors unyielding. But I am tired. So tired. The girl feeds the fire. Sparks leap up the chimney, smoke curling toward the cracked ceiling. She doesn't see how the darkness is pooling in the corners behind her. She doesn't hear the faint scrape of claws on stone beneath the floorboards. But I do. Run, I whisper, though I know she cannot hear me. You need to run. The thing moves. With a deafening crack, the trapdoor in the nursery bursts open, slamming against the wall. The sound rattles through me, shaking dust from my rafters. The girl freezes, her eyes darting toward the staircase. Then she hears it. A slow, deliberate creak of footsteps coming up from below. Her breath quickens. She snatches up her flashlight and bag, backing away from the hearth. "Who's there?" she calls out. But there's no answer. Only the steady creak of weight on the stairs, and a low, wet chuckle that makes my boards tremble. The girl bolts for the door. But before she can reach it, the front door slams shut on its own, splintering slightly under the force. I didn't do it. She is mine now, the thing says. Chapter 8, The Confession of Stone. I have kept my silence for so long. But as the girl hammers her fists against my door, screaming for help, I know I must try. I reach out, not with hands, for I have none, nor with a voice, for I am only wood and stone. But I sent her images. Fragments of memory. A man on his knees in the parlor, blood dripping onto the floorboards. A woman coughing her life away in the bedroom upstairs. The black leather book lying open on the table, pages curling as though in agony. And the thing that came slithering into me, coiling around my heart and whispering promises it was never meant to keep. The girl staggers back from the door, clutching her head. What are you?" she gasps. "I was a home once," I try to say. "I was loved. I kept them warm. I kept them safe." But my words are only a chill that makes her shiver. Now I am only a prison. Below, the thing laughs. "Tell her the truth," it taunts. "Tell her how you let me in. Tell her you're the reason her blood will stain your floors next." I want to deny it. But the girl's wide, terrified eyes meet the ceiling, and I know she already understands. She whispers, "You're alive, aren't you?" "Yes. And I am dying." Chapter 9, When the Light Returns. The thing bursts from the cellar, black and writhing, its shape shifting like smoke and oil. It lunges at the girl, tendrils reaching for her throat. She screams, stumbling back toward the hearth. The fire flares as if in protest, casting wild shadows that twist and spin. She will not leave, the thing snarls. She is mine. And so are you. I gather what little strength I have left. The heat of the fire. The memory of laughter. The faint, lingering scent of bread baking in my kitchen. I focus it all into one final effort. You cannot have her. The hearth explodes into light. Flames surge through my walls, racing up my staircase, searing through every crack and crevice. The thing shrieks, writhing as the fire consumes it. The girl throws herself out my window just as the flames reach the ceiling. Glass shatters around her, and I feel her body tumble onto the wet grass outside. She is safe. that's all that matters. As the fire devours me, I feel my timbers sigh with relief. For the first time in decades, I am warm again. Not the warmth of life, but the warmth of release. When the flames die, there is nothing left of me but ashes and a stone chimney standing alone in the grass. The girl kneels beside it at dawn, her coat wrapped tightly around her. She stares at the place where I used to stand. A single flower grows in the charred earth. She reaches out and touches it gently. And somewhere, in the lingering heat of the stones, I whisper, "I was a home once. And now I am free."